So I just turned on a mic, and like I'm saying, I'm out of my comfort zone. For the people that know me, I'm up here, but I'd rather be in a shell hiding in a cave. I'm so out of my comfort zone. But tonight, I've used the opportunity to go on Amazon, get a mic, and basically capture what I share with you guys, because I do feel what I share with people is important. And I also, for people that do know me and have heard me speak before, I don't plan anything at all. I don't think about what I'm going to talk about, how I'm going to talk about it. I move within the moment. I truly allow inspiration to move through me in a sense of sincerity, so that I share in the moment to you from me. There's nothing preordained or script like there's no script for me, and there's nothing pre-planned even in my meditations or my group work that some of you are part of. That's how I work. So it is once again, really out of my comfort zone, but that's the way you get the best version of you, is to be just in the moment and just to move through it as authentic and freely as you can. But I do wanted to ask, we have a mixed group of people, but I just wanted to ask, is there people here that would consider themselves to be spiritual people, involved with spiritual things or stuff to do with that? Just quick raise of hands, you just kind of poke it up. And then we have other people that feel as though, who feels that they're not spiritual? We got one who's not spiritual or not into spiritual things, or how come what happened to half the hands? Half the hands went up and no hands gone up. In general, and not, so you have to bear with me. You have to lend me your ear for a little while, because my mind is like my own little inner maze. So I go through it and then I'll share with you once the mouse gets out. But basically, what I could convey to you is that what we've done as human beings is that we've tried to put everything in a box, and we've tried to stick labels on it. And see, that's great for the spice rack and for organizing your computer. But in life, it's really a big lie. You see, what we've done is we've taken stretching and we've taken yoga. Did you guys come from yoga? Yeah, woo! So, awesome, right? Stretching the body, breath join with the body. But somehow we consider this to be spiritual, right? But actually it's not. Meditation, closing your eyes, breathing, becoming one with yourself. You feel that, it's a sense of spirituality, right? Or you read a piece of religious paper, moves you feel inspired, spiritual. There's all these things that can go into this context of spirituality. But the real truth, and I just share my opinion, and it's mine today, and it's open to change tomorrow morning. So whatever I share with you guys, it's from the depth of me right now. But I do leave myself open to have a different opinion, to feel different about something tomorrow morning. And I would inspire you guys to do the same. Give yourself the chance to feel different about things tomorrow than you did today. But right now I can share with you that truly everything is spiritual. And if you don't if there's any atheists in the room or non-religious, non-spiritual people, I'm with you. I don't need to be spiritual or religious to understand what I'm sharing. Because really underlining life is an unseen force. If you don't like it spiritually, you can look at it scientifically. If you were to capture the Earth and say, "Excuse me, Earth, how are you floating in outer space?" It would look at you and it would say, "I don't know, something's doing it for me." Right? And if you were to look at your life, or you were to talk to a flower and you were to say, "How is this all happening?" you would have to come to the conclusion that something is animating your life. There's an unseen force. Some people like to use the big 3-letter word, which I'm not crazy about using it in a teaching capacity. And I'm talking about the God, this God thing that's doing it. And then you have all these break-offs of people's opinion about the same thing, right? That's what it is. My opinion, if you look at all the different modalities, all the different facets that we can find in the world that we call spiritual, They're different personal opinions to this unseen force. And I like things super simple, because if they get too out there, you lose me. I just need it to be really simple so I can stay with it all. And that's the spirituality that I share with you now, is that truly, if you come to look at your breath, in the capacity that as you breathe right now, you breathe the same air that, let's say, is moving on the other side of the solar system. It doesn't seem that way, but you can't put air in a box. You can't say, I'm breathing Canadian air, and if I drive 2 hours, it's American air. It doesn't work that way, right? It's the same as if you look at the water. If you were to talk to the ocean that's touching Japan and say, oh, I'm Japan Ocean, and then over there you're like, oh, I'm Vancouver Ocean. No, it's just ocean. It just doesn't know the difference. It's water. So we're taking in this breath, yet we have no responsibility for the breath. Anyone here can claim that they are conscious of how the body's doing it or participating. We come out of the womb, we take breath. Magic, right? So these are the simple parts of life that I feel, if we were to really undo and not so much become a teaching of spirituality or a teaching of something that we can put in a box, but undo what we already think and know, that we can come to a conclusion that frees ourselves to be truly an infinite expression of potential in ecstatic motion. Truly, that's where you'll find yourself. Because that's what you are. If you were to look at science and you're say, hey, what's the body made out of? Like, I'm a spiritual person. I'll sit in a deep meditation for an hour and a half. But I'll talk to you about science if that's the way we need to come together. Because at the root of it, you'll find a science saying, I don't know, but if I stick you under a microscope, it's a bunch of trillion cells running around and collecting itself, and then there you are magically. Right? That's what science tells us. So when we look at what we are, it kind of starts from the beginning. You come out and you're looking at the world and you're saying, hello world, and then they start calling you a name. Michael, or all your guys' name. Hello, hello, hello. And then as soon as you start realizing, you're like, oh, you're Asian. Oh, you're Italian. Oh, you're this. So you look in the mirror, you're like, I'm Michael, I'm Italian. Oh, let's start the list, right? So here I am. Then we go through our life and we keep saying, I am. I am this, I am that. I am this, I am that. Truly, there's not one person here who still today, if I just met you on the street and I said, hey, what are you about? You would tell me, I am this, I am that, I am this, I am that. Because culturally, this is the way that we've learned to interact with each other, the way to express, this is who I am. But for me, I am in a dream world where I would just meet someone and look into their soul, and they would look into my soul, and we would see the depth of each other beyond materialism. You see, that's honestly where I live. It sounds cheesy, but that's my reality. That's how I wish humanity was interacting with each other. But we don't. We interact with each other with a checklist of boxes of things that you are not. You are not. How many people go up to someone and say, I'm a teeth brusher. I brush my teeth every day. You know, I'm a car driver. If you're a race car driver, then you're like, I'm a race car driver. But if you're just a normal car driver, you don't walk up to people and say, I drive cars. You know? But when we meet people, it's like, what do you do? I'm a doctor. Oh, I'm a teacher. I'm a this, I'm a that. No, those are not what you are. Those are just things that you can do. And if you actually paid attention, you can do a lot of things, like lots. If you really made a list of the things that you can do on a day-to-day, it's huge. And you're only touching a small percentage of what you can do. And that's why the people that know me, I'm so like OCD with labels, because they limit your beliefs and really what you're able to do. Because as soon as I say, oh, I'm a medium, oh, I just talk to people you can't see, or I say, oh, I'm this, oh, then I'm just that, I'm already creating conditions that say that's what you are. But the truth is, I'm none of those things except me expressing myself as I am. Have I lost anyone yet? Hey, back there? Yeah, because I lose myself sometimes. Truly, I do. You know, but this is the reality. And when you look to spirituality, whether it's Christianity, Muslim, it doesn't matter what ethnicity you come from within this globe, you'll find an underlining thread that is asking you to please look at the connection of life. If you study any religion or any spirituality, that's all it's asking you to do. It's asking you to please pay attention to what you are. Like Jesus said, know thyself. If you know yourself, you'll know everything. And that's why I'm not going to be egotistical here by saying this, but I feel very, very, very much my own guru. That I don't want to listen to people talk. I don't want to read too many books because yes, they're inspiring. Yes, they put ideas in our mind. Yes, listening to me is great. But you need to be the person that changes your world, not me. You need to be the one that changes your whole perception of how you live your life or what you want to do with your life or what you're capable of doing. I could tell you this every day, but until somebody decides to pick up the 1 foot and say, let's move towards that, then that's you doing it on your own. And I'm for the people that do know me here, I am an inspired mind. So I work within a capacity that I surrender myself to all of life, and I allow just this influx of what I feel I want to share with you. And within that moment, I just feel as though if you look back in history, you'll find this thing, glory be to God, or thanks be to God. Has anyone heard that before? Right? In the world, you hear that? But what were those people talking about? Because something happens in your life, or you create something, and you say, thanks be to God. Now, I haven't seen in any scripture, and even in all the writings of Jesus or Muhammad, the prophet, any of them, I've never ever seen the God actually come forward and say, hello, I'm the one. A lot of people said, as I go unto the Father, as I become in union with this power, which I would agree, I'm an introvert, but as I lose myself in this sense of becoming more with life, I serve to you. And that becomes my in a way, web of power to be able to become a speaker, which I'm naturally not. I'm a construction worker. I do renovations. That's what I do. But here I am as a speaker. So me going back that's why I wouldn't say I am a renovator. No, I'm not. I'm whatever I want to be. I'm an infinite expression of this power that literally can and do whatever thy will be done. That's what you are. And that's why you find within a lot of mainstream concepts about the secret or the positive affirmations or all this, they're just trying to, in a way, some of it is confusing, at least for me, but it's really telling you the same thing, that you're creating your reality. And that's nice. That sounds good on Instagram. You're creating your reality, But how is that going to create my reality? How is that going to change my life? But the real truth of it is, if you were to look at yourself as the creator of your living breath, start with the simple things. So not, my relationships, my finance, what I did last week, I regret that, I hope I do that. Don't get into all that yet. Just start with a sense that I am the creator of this breath. And then once there's this sense of union, that I am actually the one inspiring my life. I'm the one moving this power, animating this body. Whether you're a professional athlete or in a wheelchair, the power to become conscious that you are not just a brain running some body running around the city. There's more to it. Absolutely more to it. And I'm not here to convince you that. I just share my opinion today. And that would be my real part of telling people, where would I start on my journey? Or how do I do this? Or how do I do that? How do I get people ask me all the time, these how-dos? How do? It's like I got the secret answer. I kind of do, but it's real simple. It's actually you. It's got nothing to do with me. All I can do for people is be like signposts going down the road that says, one way, left turn, and it's up to you if you want to listen to, you want to pay attention to the stuff that's around you. But if for some of you, what I'm saying is way left field, and you're like, it's so deep, and I just want to go to Dairy Queen, like if some of you have that sense, I'm with you, and I feel that feeling also within spirituality and materialism, because we live in a world that is asking us to survive. It's asking us to pay the bills, put gas in our car, function, live a life. And here's this guy talking about airy-fairy, I'm the power of the universe. That's what's really the duality that we deal with in life. And that's why we become enslaved by ourselves, is that we find ourselves stuck in a way that it doesn't look like we are these powerful beings. It doesn't look that way. I'm sorry. If anyone can say to me, hey, when I drive around, I see a bunch of powerful spiritual beings going around Vancouver. It doesn't really look that way. It kind of looks like a bunch of people running around to try and do what they got to do. For one person, it's trying to get food for the day. For another person, it's because they want their third home on lakefront. Like, their realities are too different. But yet they're still chasing this sense of something. Oh, I got to go get it. And that's cool. Like, if those things make you happy, then go get it. But I would share that there are biggest distractions to the reality of what we are. That's kind of the problem. Is that, we've grown up with families and societies that we're blessed in our city to have clean water, to have a place where we can get a job and sustain a decent living. Yes, very blessed. But if you pay closer attention, we're really modern day slaves. If you said to yourself today, oh, I'm going to take 3 weeks off, maybe a year, I'm just going to relax. Yeah? Tell me how you're going to pay the bills. For most people, unless you got savings or whatever, for most people, our lives are wrapped around what we got to do now, what we got to do tomorrow, and what's happening down the road. We're like, whoa, way ahead. So where's the time to do what I'm saying and actually reflect upon life? And to share like my journey is that's what I ended up doing. And it wasn't always, it didn't come from me from some religious epiphany. It came through trauma and suffering in my life. And trauma and suffering made me turn inward because I didn't want nothing to do with this world. And I had already tried other ways to numb this world. I already tried that. It didn't work no more. And so the only thing left for me to do was to reflect inward towards myself, and also meditation and going into the silence and things that now start falling into the spiritual category, But really what it was this beautiful way of life just sending me with myself. And I gifted myself this duration of my life to really go within and say, what am I? And I know there's other people here that have posed that question upon themselves with when you start doing this work. Because really, what I'm talking about tonight is tearing apart your reality. I'm sorry. You can leave here and you can say, guy's nuts. And I'm cool with that because, if I talk to my mom, she's like, oh my God. She's like, he's going on again. Just go to work and, make a living. Be a good boy. Go find a good woman. Like, tick back in the box, right? And I'm going on about the universe, the multiverse. But I'm totally cool if people have those feelings. But I have to say that what I found experientially in no book and no writing has rung true with me, that when you look in the mirror, it's a lie. That is a lie. It's an absolute lie. I'm sorry. I'm sorry if that doesn't fit well with you. But when you look in the mirror and you say, hi, Michael, that's a lie. My parents named me Michael. That's the start. Some of us may have had a choice in our name if we influenced our parents' minds before we came here, if that's possible. But reality, for most of us, we were kind of labeled. It's like, oh, there's the boy, that's his name. Hello. And then I look in the mirror and say, I'm Italian. Well, no, I'm not Italian. My body's Italian. My genetics are Italian. So if I was to look at how I view the world. It's kind of like a car factory going out, and some of us got Volvos, and some of us got Fiats, and some of us got Fords, and some of us, got all different makes and models of vehicles. Out we go. But the driver's the same. If we were all to close our eyes and be blindfolded and turn into blind people and walk in this room, and you were to touch upon the atmosphere, say, who are you? You wouldn't say, oh yeah, it's a Mexican. Oh yeah, it's an Italian. Oh yeah, it's an Asian person. It's a girl. She's 24. You wouldn't say that. You'd say, oh, you're scared. Oh, you're loving. Oh, you're kind. Oh, I can trust you. Oh, are you okay? You would be sensing the atmosphere in a totally different manner. Totally, 100%. Because you would be relying on what does life feel like, not what does life look like. That's what you'd be saying, And that truly is your biggest gift, is to feel upon life. If you learn to touch upon life, losing the senses of touch and vision, but to feel with you, and I don't care if you're spiritual or religious or not, but just the capacity of you to actually take a moment and to feel upon it, to allow yourself, if it were, to allow itself to flow like water, dropping upon something and then returning, like an ebb and flow of the ocean, and just touching upon it, you would know and come to know much more about life than you do now. Because everything you touch upon will teach you about it. That's why people say, oh, Mike, wow, you're so psychic. No, I'm not psychic. I don't see it as psychic. I don't see it as gifted. I don't see it as any of that stuff. I see it as myself giving myself the opportunity and the permission and the confidence and the love to find myself a part of you. That's how I'm doing it. So I might feel, oh, you might be going through a bad time right now, or someone say, oh, she's always got a feeling, right? Oh, she's always got a feeling. She's got a spidey sense, kind of weird. Stay away, right, Laura? But really it's because unconsciously or consciously, some people are really good at just letting themselves be out there and say, oh, what's it like? Oh, I can feel you're not doing so good, or oh, you're really excited. You're just allowing yourself and giving yourself permission to feel life. But the real juice, or the real strength that you can find from that, is that it's not so much people. It's actually a sense of life beyond words, life beyond measure. So if I really asked you, and we're going to do it later on, but if I really said to you, listen, put what I'm saying to test, and put me against double blind, and just implement it in your life whenever you get a chance to take a moment and just find yourself a part of something beyond you. I was taught by people you can't see, believe it or not, that you are nothing unto yourself. Yeah, and I thought about that for a while. I said, what do you mean I'm nothing? Look at me, I'm something. But the thing is that without the water, I don't live. Without the air, I don't breathe. Without the food, I don't become anything. Without people, I'm lonely. Without animals, I don't have their love. Without the flowers, without anything, if I was just me and you were just you would just be on your own in a dark room. And wouldn't you consider yourself nothing at that point? Literally, if you were looking at yourself and said, look at me now. But if I just stuck you out in the middle of a field and there's nothing there, at some point you'd come to the conclusion that without life, I find myself empty. I find myself nothing. You see? And that's why there's a huge power in this sense of connectedness, a sense of oneness, a sense of doing good to one another, being conscious of the environment. It's not that being conscious of the environment, I'm a vegetarian, oh, he eats broccoli all the time, he's so spiritual. No, it's not that case. The case is that if you're actually coming from a place where you don't want to be a part of the suffering of animals, the same as people. I don't want to go around abusing people. right? And I'm not preaching vegetarianism. My son eats meat whenever he wants, just so we're clear with the mixed bag group. Man, ooh, he's going on vegetarian, you know. But the point is that if you're coming from a place that you feel that you're a part of something, you will naturally abide by the Christian commandments, or by what Muhammad had to teach his people, or by what Buddha had to teach. There's no way you're going to go against the grain if that was your truth. If it was your truth to, do unto others as you do to yourself, or all the, Buddha's love and compassion, and, to end our suffering through, the desires of the conscious mind, and to surrender all these things. If we just were looking, if I could give you a moment to just use your imagination, that the whole world, every single soul that was born onto this planet, that they were taught immediately, you are a part of everything and you are responsible for everything because you are a part of everything. Please make it a priority to take care of yourself. Can anyone see with your imagination what a different world we would have if that's what you were taught right away? That, hey, let's say you're talking to your kid and you say, listen, I'm going to be honest with you, kid. I don't know how it works. I'm not a scientist and I'm not a monk. But what I have found in my life is that somehow this is all tied in. And without one another, we can't live. Without one another, we don't have a future. Without one another, we won't have love. You won't feel love. You won't know it if you don't have someone else to share it with. If those were instilled in us in the beginning, except for feelings of who I am and who I need to be and what I need to do and when I need to do it, and I got to hurry up and get there and do this, and then we're lost back in this illusion of life, like we could go to, I mentioned it before, like in the Mayan tradition, that the Maya is the material world and the real world is this sense of spirituality, the sense of the soul. And I would go as far to share with you a brilliant man that you guys will know as Albert Einstein, that I love spiritually, because he knew all things were not rooted but seeded by an unseen force. He figured that out scientifically, and he also viewed it spiritually. And if this sounds still left field for you, just think of simple things that we experience in life. A chair, a pen, just something so simple. At some point, a human being, not God, I'm not giving God, credit for chairs. A human being decided to say, if I get a flat piece and stick 4 sticks on it, I'll have something to sit on, right? That's a chair, right? And you tell me one thing outside of nature that a mind didn't have an idea or a vision and then it came into reality. Show me. Every single little piece of this material world has been created from an unseen force. The mind is imagining a chair, and then that unseen power creates it. If you can't agree with me, then I really would like to argue with you about this personally later when this is done, because it's true. Fashion, clothes, food, culture, language, everything you imagine, we have started from nothing and nowhere. It's been something that's come within. Even if you were to go to a lovely tribal place in Africa, you'll find people that have learned to communicate through making toning, right? Nobody said, oh, here's toning. Here it is. Make sense of it. They did it themselves. You see, they came to the sharing of one another. And so that's how I back up what comes out of my being, is that I don't speak from books, from this, from that. I speak from a rational, solid foundation that I want to have, even myself, experiential, realistic conclusions to what someone may call spiritual. That's what I want. I can't work myself personally with something that's out in the clouds. It doesn't work for me. I need it to be here it needs to be something that makes this world better now. And what I'm sharing with you guys, if you've captured really the essence of what I'm trying to implore upon your soul, is that you are limitless potential. Please don't leave this world with a bag of tricks you never showed anybody else. Please. Please. Because as being a mediumistic person, that's where you find so many people. They say, oh, I'm sorry I did this. Oh, I'm sorry I did that. That's why I'd rather just become aware of a dog. Because a dog comes and just like, hey, I love you. Because that's all they did when they were here. So when you feel them around someone again, they're just like, woo, I just love you. I'm so happy to be here. They don't have regrets. But you see, us, we got caught up in some sense of earthly life that we forgot, wait a minute, I'm an eternal, powerful, infinite being that has the full capacity to be anything and everything I want to be. And I would also tell you this, undoubtedly, there's not one person in this room who doesn't have the full capacity to move within themselves and find themselves a part of life. You don't need to be meditating. Have you ever found a song that you start singing and you get tingles on your hair and you get a bit euphoric and it's like, oh my, ooh, what's happening? Does that happen to anyone? Anyone? Am I talking to myself now? Yeah? Does that happen to everyone? Yeah, see, like, there's moments like that the real you, the part within you, will say, woo, 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 woo. It'll start celebrating you acknowledging it. And that's why you find this underlining thread within spirituality to become creative. Because when you become creative, whether it's through writing or gardening, it doesn't matter. You take a pen and you make circles on a piece of paper like this, and just go circle town. If you allow yourself the opportunity to just experience and fall into the doodle, you get lost. You get lost. And when you really sing a song, you're not singing because you like it. You're not singing because, oh, you like the artist and they like the fashion they wore last week. You're actually singing it and you're actually having this euphoric experience because you got lost in it. You got so in it that you're like, ooh. And that's what happens. And if you do that in life, you can get lost in anything you choose. You can get lost in looking into strangers' eyes. You can get lost into staring at a tree. And that's where the spiritual philosophy would come from. You know, as I gaze upon the wind and it touches my breath, I find myself in love with God. There it is. Right? So I stick that in a book, print it 5,000 times, and no one understands what I'm talking about. That's what we've done. You see? But really, that is what I would say is this essence of love, is this essence of what we are. And, I could go on forever, ever and ever and ever, trying to my very best with my utmost sincerity to move you to hold yourself within this truth, the simple truth of really what we are. And then once it sits within you, so deeply rooted, that you can have the confidence to do what I'm doing right now. And that ripple will allow itself to make its way to strangers we'll never meet, and that we'll be doing it for people we'll never know, but all for the better, for the sake of tomorrow. Yeah? And I'm going to leave it at that. So, bless you.